There is something genuinely refreshing about a lens that practically disappears the moment you mount it to your camera. Most modern glass feels like you are lugging around a small brick, but this little Pancake Prime from Panasonic is a different story entirely. It is barely an inch thick, which means it turns a capable mirrorless body into something that actually fits in a jacket pocket. That is the kind of portability that makes you want to carry your camera everywhere, rather than leaving it on a shelf, because the gear feels like a chore to haul around. Now, do not let the size fool you into thinking it is just a toy. The optics inside are surprisingly sharp for something that takes up so little space. With that f1.7 aperture, it handles low light with a level of grace that standard kit lenses just cannot touch. You get that nice, creamy background separation that makes subjects pop, and it does so without needing a massive glass element at the front. It is a 20mm focal length, which sits in that sweet spot, not quite as wide as a dedicated landscape lens, but wide enough to capture a scene without feeling cramped. It feels natural, almost like how the human eye perceives a room. What stands out, though, is the build. It feels dense and solid in the hand, not like some cheap plastic accessory that might rattle if you shake it. It is a micro, 4/3 staple for a reason. The focus is snappy enough for street photography or casual portraits, though it does have a bit of a distinct sound when it hunts for focus. It is not exactly silent, so if you are planning on shooting video in a dead quiet room, you might pick up a little mechanical chatter. That is probably the one quirk that reminds you, this design has been around for a while. The minimum focus distance is about 0.2 meters, which is decent for getting in close on details, though it is not a true macro lens by any stretch. You can get some nice textures and close-up shots of food or small objects, but you will find yourself hitting that focus limit if you try to get too intimate with your subject. Honestly, the biggest limitation is just the lack of image stabilization built into the lens itself. Since it is so small, you are relying entirely on the camera body to keep things steady. If you are shooting on an older body without internal stabilization, you will need to keep your shutter speeds up to avoid any blur. Still, there is a certain charm to this piece of kit that is hard to replicate. It turns a serious camera into a stealthy, everyday companion. It is not trying to be the sharpest, most clinical lens on the market, but it has a character that makes images look pleasing and organic. If you are tired of heavy gear and just want something that stays out of your way while delivering great results, this little Pancake is a classic for a reason. It is not perfect, but it is one of those rare pieces of gear that actually encourages you to go out and shoot more, and that is worth quite a bit.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.